Serious problem with the connection.
Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of the Spurs Chat podcast. In this edition, we'll be talking about Tottenham's 3-1 win against Brentford here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Sorry if you can hear some background noise, but the party atmosphere is back. Tottenham Hotspur have won at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and Dominic Solanke has got his first goal in a Spurs shirt. Despite Brentford taking the lead after 22 seconds, Brennan Johnson scored a fantastic goal as well, making his toughest week in a Spurs shirt, turning into a very positive one. And of course, James Maddison scored Tottenham's third goal after a brilliant performance today here at the Spurs Stadium. Back with me are three returning guests. Now, we are live on YouTube, live on Facebook, and also live on X. So please do get involved. Give us your thoughts on the performance today and how you are feeling as a Spurs fan right now. Back with me is actor Ricky Norwood. Actor Ricky Norwood, how are you?
I am buzzing today, my friend. I am buzzing today. We needed the 3 points. We needed a bit of a performance. We needed those goals. We needed to get over the line, and we've done it today, man. All of those players that were being questioned for the last, I don't know, since the beginning of the season, turned up today, and hopefully silences the doubters for a little while. So I was really happy for those that have scored. I'm really happy for the way that we got over the line, and even like the winner from Maddison today, fantastic as well. So yeah, loads to dive into. I'm buzzing. And, you know, the biggest threat that Brentford had today was Tottenham Hotspur. You know what I mean? It's the biggest threat that they had was Tottenham Hotspur. But I'm glad that we sailed through that stormy water and we got to the sunshine.
As per normal, Ricky cannot wait to talk about Tottenham's win. And it's all smiles all round, which is great to see. Back with us also, and this is an international lineup today, we have got Melvin all the way from Malta. Melvin, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. Happy with the 3 points. You know, good performance overall, couple of goals, you know, some moments to discuss and to talk about. And yeah, it's an exciting lineup, obviously representing Malta here. And yeah, looking forward to the show.
Melvin, I actually had a couple of guys come up to me earlier on in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium saying we watch Melvin all the time from Malta, and they were from Malta as well, and they wish you well. I don't think they've met you either. We've also got Remy Odegaard all the way from Norway. Remy, how are you?
I'm good. I'm a little better now after Ricky spread his positivity. I'm actually, I have to admit that I'm more relieved than happy, actually.
We're certainly relieved and we're all happy. That is the main thing. So let's have a look at the result. Tottenham Hotspur 3, Brentford 1. Mbeumo putting Brentford 1-0 up after 22 seconds. Dominic Solanke getting his first Tottenham Hotspur goal after 8 minutes in this fixture. Brennan Johnson on the score sheet again for Spurs in the 28th minute, and James Maddison rounding things off in the 85th minute. Heung-min Son with a couple of assists today in front of 61,246 fans here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs are now up to 10th in the Premier League table. It is still early days, so this doesn't really mean a lot at this stage. 7 points from 5 games. Now, the match facts and stats, Spurs had 47.8% of the ball to Brentford's 52.2%. Spurs had a staggering 23 shots today to Brentford 6. Shots on target, Spurs 10, Brentford 6. Shots off target, Spurs 3, Brentford 0. Block shots, Spurs 10, Brentford 0. Touches in the opposition box, Spurs 58 to Brentford 19. Goalkeeper saves, Vicario made 5, Flecken made 6. Aerial duels 1, Spurs 11, Brentford 6. Fouls, Spurs 11, Brentford 9. And corners, Spurs 9, Brentford 4. Ricky, let's start the show with you. Your thoughts on today's game, 3-1 Tottenham.
Firstly, I mean, like Remy said there, yes, there's joy that we won, but there's a lot of relief. And, for all those that can see where we're heading, where we're going, and that are positive about the things that we can see, even though it's surrounded by some negative, but we can see some certain positives. It was good to get that over the line, just so that we can speak about those positives and we can applaud the boys, for their efforts today. There was a massive reaction, I feel, from the boys today. Massive reaction from the manager as well. I think there was a lot of fed upness. I think there was a lot of let's go show them what we're about. I think there was a lot of kind of, I think they were fired up. And after conceding after 22 seconds, to see that response and it not change the way we play, but it encouraged and it put the fire under them to go out there and fight and go, we're not having this today. We are not having this today. And again, that first half was, it was at 100 miles an hour. There was some great one-touch play. There was some great forward play that, Kulusevski is, I think, one of our dangerous, if not the most dangerous player in a Spurs shirt right now for what he's doing. It was great to see Maddison pick up his game, have a bit more touches, and just keep that pace going and keep the momentum going. And he's tricky little kind of through balls and he's outside of the foot crosses and stuff like that. He looked a lot better. I think that's the best we've seen Maddison in a long time for that sustained period of time. And to kind of crown it off with a goal as well. Fantastic. Johnson, for me, again, a great way to kind of, he's another one that needed a bit of effort and a bit of FU about his performances, and he went out there and he done that. The goal in the cup game during the week, I think definitely as a winner spurred him on. And then today it was a great, he had a couple of shots and he played well. He played well for a while he was on there, and to get his goal and silence the crowd and silence the critics and silence those that want to chuck hate at him was fantastic. And I really hope that this is the beginning for him. And I really hope that he just pushes on and just gains that confidence, gains that belief in his own technique and in his own performances, and just keeps pushing forward, man. All round, it was a great way and it was a great game to kind of go, to all of the doubters, we're still here. We haven't started yet. Yes, there's been a few bumps, but once we get cooking, it could be fantastic.
Ricky, it's great to have you back, and it's great being back with a win. Especially
I missed it, bro.
Melvin, let's come to you. Let's get your thoughts on today's game.
Yeah, it was a good performance. Good to see, Bentancur boss that midfield. I think it was probably his best game since the ACL injury, and I've been keeping a close eye on him because he's been one of my favorite players, and it's good to see him play really, really well, and especially in the Premier League now. And he got 90 minutes the other day, and I think with every game you're starting to see more and more from the team. And there were some question marks that today were answered about certain players, Kulusevski, Maddison, and they performed today, and I'm happy with Maddison's form and Kulusevski's new position, which you can see that he excels in, because the team plays different when he plays there. I think his one touch, like Ricky said, he's quicker. He thinks quicker to other players. He doesn't slow the game down as much as, and I'm just happy with the 3 points, and it's overall minor improvements. That's what we ask for from the team at this point in time. I think if we say minor improvements, you get it over the line. The team is still learning how to win, how to grind out results, and to show a bit of character going 1-0 down. I was still up here, getting ready because I just showered before the game, and my dad yells from downstairs, it's 1-0. And I thought he was joking. And I ran down and we conceded the goal. What the hell is going on? But yeah, so to get the 3 points after that, it's good. And we move on to the next game, and we need to build up, a run of games where we keep winning. So it's good to get that first one over the line, and I look forward to the next game. So
all happy, Melvin. Remy, let's come to you. Let's get your thoughts on today's win.
Yeah, start with saying that I missed the Brentford goal myself. I didn't turn on before 1 minute and 20 into the first half, and when I saw it, the scoreline, I was scared, because Thomas Frank is a good tactician. He has got a lot of out of that team with very limited resources. But the way we played, from we scored the first goal, until 20 minutes, we should have been 6 or 7. We should have put behind the keeper. So there was some really nice offensive, attacking, nice to watch football. But I'm still the clinic. We need some to be more clinical, like we and you guys have talked about many times. But to score 3 goals, to have as many shots on goal and on target and touches in the opposition box, it's a well-deserved win, but there's still a long way to go. But like I said before, I'm more relieved than I'm happy. But it's time to start picking those 3 points regularly,
Absolutely. Remy, who really impressed you today in the starting 11?
I would say Mathers really impressed me today, because he's starting to do those things that very few people can do, do this one touch with a teammate, and to just pass through the lines and to set up things and to make things happen. And I'm starting to feel again, like I did in the start of the last season, that when Mathers have the ball, something can happen. He starts to look sharper and sharper, and I'm really happy about that.
Ricky, who really impressed you today? Jim writes here, Johnson, Solanke, Maddison. I'd actually throw Bentancur in there as well. Although Vicario, at times, you didn't know what he was doing. He made a couple of great saves also today.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of impressive displays today. I thought Udogie looked a lot fitter. He looked a lot more robust. He looked like he could handle what was being thrown at him, and he could handle the demands that were on him going forward as well. It seemed like his touch was a lot better today as well. I thought that the midfield three worked fantastic today. I think that having both Kulu and Maddison running and dovetailing at that defense creates chaos and it creates space. Both of them like a one touch, both of them like a flick around the corner. And so it's readable. They're starting to read it as well. So it was impressive. Bentancur, is like Melvin said there, it was great to see him back and just kind of calm, assured. Every time that he was under pressure, I never felt that he couldn't handle that pressure or get out of it. Big Vicario, I mean, it was just that period of time in the second half where, like I say, like Brentford's biggest threat was Tottenham Hotspur, because we done it to ourselves. We encouraged them. We allowed them to go, if you push us or if you put us under pressure, then something can happen. Something can break here. And it was that 10 minutes period of time where, Vicario, there was a point where he took the ball and went to kick it out, but then he almost got closed down and it almost was an own goal. And there were a few touches that were a bit out of place. The handball outside the box. At that point, I walked off. I had to walk off. I don't even know what happened. I don't know if he got booked. I don't know if they had a free kick. I walked off and I had to come back. And by the time they came back, they would continue playing. So I was like, all right, fine. Let's just keep it moving. So there were a couple of times.
You can't just walk off, Ricky, when something goes wrong.
I know, but sometimes I have to, mate. Sometimes I have to, otherwise I'm going to break something. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes I just got to go, because it gets to that point where you're like, oh, we've had all of this great play. We've been utterly dominant. They've had absolutely nothing. And then we're the kind of the victims of our own downfall at times. And we've seen it so many times as Tottenham. So when that happened again, I was just like, oh my gosh, I've got to just walk away here. But, he recovered well. There was a great save after that 10-minute period of time where he clawed it off the line. So what I see with Vicario is that making a mistake doesn't faze him, in the sense that he doesn't take on the guilt. It doesn't stop him playing the way that you know, he's being asked to play. You know, he quickly forgets an error and goes, all right, and cool, let me make it up. Let me get the next one. Let me get the next one. And I like that train of thought. If you're dwelling on your mistakes for too long, then you inevitably give away 2 or 3 more mistakes, you know? So the side as a whole, but for me, I don't know. I mean, you know, Johnson's had such a tough time that for him to come back home in a league game and score that second, the way that he done it, the way that we've all been waiting for him to score like that, and he could have had a second as well. For him to do that, I think the most impressive performance I'm going to say was by Brennan, just for what he's had to deal with and to come out with that performance in front of a home crowd, because it's been our own that's been attacking him. You know, we saw that the socials have been turned off, and we spoke about this, about young players and being on socials. And so for him to kind of deal with it all, the questions in the press that the managers had to answer, and the pressure that's been put on him by himself, the fans and the media, for him to kind of come up trumps, for me, you know, you got to give it to Brendan today.
I tell you what, a couple of nice moments in the stadium today. The Spurs fans singing "There's only one Brennan Johnson." I think that went down extremely well. Really pleasing to see. And as I said in the intro, probably his toughest week in a Spurs shirt to probably his best week and most proud week in a Spurs shirt, which is great to see. Melvin, who really impressed you today?
Like I said before, I thought, obviously, I'm a big fan of Bentancur, and I thought in certain games he's going to be really important for us this season. In games where we press teams and teams are going to set in a low block, I think he's important. I think he does a bit more than Bissouma on the ball. I think he reads the game really, really well. He doesn't have to work hard or run or do any tackles, but he's always there in the right place at the right time. His reading of the game is quite good, and he's very calm on the ball. Obviously, I really liked Solanke as well today. I think his pressing was immense. I think our pressing overall was immense. I think we're really pressing well, and it shows because we scored 1 goal from a really nice press, and all of a sudden the game came back to life. You know, when we equalized, and I'm very happy for Solanke to get that first goal, especially at home. You know, because it kicks off his season, and I really wanted him to get another one quite quickly straight away as well, because I think we had moments where we could have easily scored 4 or 5 today, you know. And to be honest, today we won, and it's all good, all happy and positive. But even the other games we played this season, we could have easily won some of them as well. We haven't really changed our method or our style. We just, in a way, just did it that little bit better, and some of the goals just went for us today. I don't think we've done anything different than we did against, you know, Leicester, anything different than we did against Newcastle. We've not really changed our philosophy. We just played the same way, but today we scored, you know, in moments. We had good moments, good attacking moments, and we found space. I don't know how in the first couple of games we couldn't get Brendan Johnson to run behind the defense, and today we did. Against Newcastle, when he came on, he found space in behind the defense, and today he did. So these are tactical things that Postecoglou does. I don't know, or depends how teams set up against us, but sometimes Johnson finds himself in these positions, and I didn't think he was capable of scoring goals like that. So you could see there's improvement coming from Johnson. He's still 22, 23. I don't know how old he is, or 24, but he's still quite young. He's still, you know, 120 career appearances. He's still, you know, a child in the game. So I think there's a lot of growth to come out of Johnson, and I've been a fan of his since the day we signed him. I just think I see a lot of development to come from him yet, and it's been said by, you know, his international coaches, and Postecoglou religiously keeps saying that there's still a lot to come from this boy, and I will always support him, and in a way even double down when the fans attack him, because I think, you know, he's one of our own. He wears the shirt, and he doesn't need this kind of stuff. He doesn't need to be turning off social media. I said this last year. I mean, anyone that puts on the shirt, I support. You know, I will support any player, any one of our players. I will never abuse them, even when they played poorly. Even like Emerson Royal a few years ago, you know, he was being abused, but the guy, you know, all he can do is fight for the shirt. And today he scored. And it's not the type of performance where you think, oh, he's world class, you guys were all wrong, but it's an improvement. It's already an improvement on it's 2 games now he scored in a row. That's 2 big goals for us, and we need them. And we don't have, you know, Harry Kane with us anymore, so we need to find ways to score. So Madison chips with a goal today, but Johnson scored today, Solanke scored today. That's 3 players that scored. We need to spread out the goals, because Sonny this season doesn't seem to be as clinical as he used to be. So, and we have to be happy with today's performance, you know, encourage the boys, you know, pick up on the slight improvements we've done and build upon it. So I don't want to get over the top and think, oh, top 4 is secured, we're going to win a trophy, it's a game changer, Postecoglou is the best. It's none of that. I think it's, we keep calm, keep doing what we're doing. You know, I think the next game is important. It's always the next game that's the most important. It's because when you win, you want to win again. And then after that, you want to win again. And you try to build your own momentum, your own good feeling around the club. So the next win is really important. I know we always say that, but especially when you get that really victory that pushes you on. Like we did last season. Last season we had a run that pretty much put us in the top of the league and made me think we were gonna win the league. But that run probably saved our season, because it gave us really good points on the board and probably secured our top 5, top 6 position and gave us Europe. So I just think we need to push on the team, you know, and build on this not momentum, but this positive game.
I couldn't agree more, Melvin. And we'll come back to some of your comments in a second. Craig has very kindly given some Ange Postecoglou comments here in the press conference. We thought if we brought our own energy and intensity, we know that we can, with and without the ball, could cause them a lot of problems. We were relentless the whole game and fully deserved the win. Remy, talking about Melvin's comments, I think Melvin is very fair in what he says about we could be sitting here with a lot more wins than we actually have in the Premier League, because in that Leicester game, I know, of course, we beat Everton 4-0, but that Newcastle game, which ended defeat in the end, which probably should have been 3 points for Spurs, we played well in all of these games, but we just weren't clinical in that final third.
Yeah, I totally agree. So this is a very strange season because, like we talked about before, like last season at this point, we were at top of the league. Now we have played, in some games we have played just as good as we did last year, and we have a lot less points. And it's a very strange thing, but now we won in the Carabao Cup, and now we took 3 points in the Premier League, and we have Europa League next week. So there could be 3 wins in 3 different competitions. So I think we need to. It's the same old boring thing that we need to take game by game. But like it has been said here, there are improvements. There's still a long way to go, but there are noticeable improvements that is good to see, and like boils down to a good and bright future if the players still believe in this way to play.
Remy, what are your hopes and expectations for this season?
I'm thinking, like, before the season I said 3rd place, so Champions League is the logical step since we took 5th place last season, and to win one of the domestic cups would have been nice. Maybe the FA Cups that we haven't won since Eric the Viking Thorstvedt was in goal in 1991. So it's about time, but it has a lot to do with the draws and the stuff like that. But yeah, I would like to, like I said the last time I was on, Chris, that I would like us to take every competition that we are in seriously. And 8 changes in the Carabao Cup, too many.
That's exactly where I was going, because let's talk about today's lineup. And Postecoglou made 8 changes again. Vicario in goal, followed by Heung-min Son, James Maddison, Udogi, Romero, Solanke, Kulusevski, Johnson, Porro, Bentancur and Van der Ven. Subs today: Forster, Dragushin, Basuma, Gray, Bergvall, Werner, Spence, Sarr and more. Ricky, let's come to you. And I don't want to spend too much time by talking about the Coventry game on Wednesday, because I don't want to turn this into a negative podcast. Although we won, I know a lot of people were frustrated by 8 changes in the Carabao Cup. Now, of course, Ange made 8 changes again today, fully expected to go back to full strength in this lineup today in the Premier League. What did you make, very quickly, what did you make of the changes at Coventry on Wednesday, and what did you make of the team lineup today?
Wednesday was tough. It was a tough game. Making 8 changes, like the both of you have said, you're always going to come under pressure. But, Ange believes in this squad, and he wanted to give these guys a go. And he thinks that, giving them game time will actually benefit them later on down the road. Now, it is a risky ploy to do it in a cup game where if it goes wrong, like it could have done the other night, we're out of another cup competition. And that's the risk that you take. I don't think he'll do those many extreme changes again. I think it'll be more of a mixed match going forward. But look, I mean, we've had, in the first couple of games of this season, we've had all of the ball. We've had all of the chances. We've had all of the shots. We should have, in those first 3 games, we should have come out with 9 points, no doubt. And in this game, it was totally opposite. But we showed fight, determination, some grit to go out there, not only get the equaliser, but to go out there and get the winner. Coventry had a good cup run last year. They've been a side that play attacking football. I'm sure that the management and the coaching staff knew that. I'm sure that they prepared and they didn't take them lightly. But football is a strange game. Football is an absolutely strange game. When you think something is 100% nailed on, it's not. There was many a time last year that I put, there was a little group betting thing. It's called Last Man Standing, where you just pick one team a week. And I remember picking Man City one week, and I think they was up against somebody in the bottom 3. And they ended up losing 1-0. And these are the things, even when you believe that something could be a 100% guaranteed, majority of the time football will kind of show you that it's not. So the fact that we got through, the fact that Brennan got the winner as well, I think it was an important ending, and it showed grit and character and determination to get over the line, to stay in the game, get over the line, and to keep moving forward. The young ones, the new boys that were in that starting lineup would take loads from that game, especially those that started the game. It's a massive learning curve for all of those going forward. So, reverting back to today, which shows you, one, that Ange is not going to change his way, because it was the same lineup as last week. And he's believing in these boys. He can see that some of them have not been up to speed, but we're getting there. And you can see that as an example with Maddison. He didn't play during the week. He got taken off against the Gooners, I think on 65 minutes. I'm not sure, but it was early in the second half. And he's got a lot to prove this year. And, with that rest, with that determination, and with these run of games as well, you can see him getting there. So the fact that, the boss had faith enough in him to go, no, you're starting today. Because Bergvall had a pretty all right game, midweek. So there were shouts for him to start today. But the fact that he went back and he was like, no, like Remy was saying there, and Melvin was saying there, no, we're going to go again, but we're just going to do it better. Because the fans and the media and everybody hasn't seen what this team can achieve yet. And the players haven't seen what this team can achieve yet. We've been very close with opportunities and passes and shots and domination and possession and all of those things, but it hasn't got over the line. And sometimes when you don't get over the line, instead of a philosophy or a way of playing that ends up convincing you because you're getting the results, sometimes you can be discouraged by the system and the doubt starts creeping in, and those voices from radio and from the papers and from media, of those doubts, those seeds of doubt start to get planted in, and then you have a mishmash side which They don't know whether to play Ange ball or to not play Ange ball, or whether they truly believe. But you can see that the boys truly believe, because like Melvin said earlier, they didn't change anything. We continue playing the same way. We just done it better.
With you talking about the doubts, Ricky, I hate to give another plug to another podcast, but of course, I recorded a podcast this morning with a Australian journalist, great journalist, by the way, Vince Rugari, and he's just written a book called Ange Ball. And I tell you what, if anyone's got any doubts about Ange Postecoglou, the style of football that we're playing, or the project that we are involved in right now, please do either buy the book, read the first chapter. I think you will change your mind, and I think that you will open your mind to it all. Or feel differently, and also check out the podcast, because Vince was absolutely superb. I had him on for 45 minutes and I could have spoken to him for hours, because I had 38 pages of notes to get through during that podcast. I got through page 4. There were 34 pages left. So please do check out that podcast and also buy the book, because it is well worth it. Craig has given another comment here. Dominic Solanke has just said, I got my first goal, which I'm delighted with. It was a great performance, and to get the 3 points as well is huge. Melvin, let's come to you. A lot of ticked boxes today, because, you know, when you think about the goal scorers, Solanke getting his first goal, Brennan Johnson, basically putting his 2 fingers up again to the doubters, another fantastic finish. And you even said yourself, didn't think he was capable of that, to take his man on and to then shoot in the bottom corner in the far, in the far corner was absolutely fantastic. And of course, James Maddison has had a lot of criticism from a lot of Spurs fans as well. So the goal scorers themselves have shut a lot of people up today. I know you've also said that we're not going to get carried away, but it was a good team performance and a good performance in that final third, which of course has been questioned a lot in the last 12 months.
Yeah, I mean, these players are now under pressure. I've said this, I think, a few times when we spoke. I mean, that's why we bought, these promising kids, to put pressure on the starting lineup. Because if Maddison doesn't play and doesn't perform and doesn't score and doesn't assist and doesn't contribute to the game and doesn't have an attacking output, every game, there's going to be question marks asked about him. Even Kulusevski's under pressure. Bentancur's under pressure. I mean, Solanke's just signed, so I think he gets a pass for the first 20-30 games. So, but these players' future are under pressure. Even Bissouma coming off the bench, even Pape Sarr hasn't been the same player he was in the beginning of last season. I mean, last season we were thinking Sarr was going to be a star. We were calling him Sarr boy and all of this kind of stuff. And we scored against Man U, and he's not been the same player he was. So the whole team is in a way fighting for their spot long term, because the project is still quite young. If you think of how many appearances does our squad have, how many career appearances, if you look at our oldest two players belong to the 400 appearance club, are Heung-min Son and Ben Davies. And after that would be Timo Werner at 300. Because I looked into this week, and we have half of the squad are under 150 appearances. And if you look at Bergvall and Archie Gray are under 50 appearances. So it's a really, really young squad. I mean, Dragusin is at 90 appearances. Van de Ven is only at 110. Romero is only at 150 odd. The squad is quite very, very young. Even Kulusevski is not even at 200 appearances yet, and he's played a lot of football. He's a very experienced player, because he played in Serie A for Juventus and for Atalanta. So we have some experience in the team, but there's still a very, very young squad, and they're gonna be under pressure to perform now, because Maddison had injuries and he's coming through it, but he's still struggling with the same problems he did at Leicester. I mean, Leicester fans would tell you that he would play well for 2, 3, 4, 5 games, and then he would have a small injury. It would take him a while to recover. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. Yes, I'm very happy with Maddison, and I'm happy he scored the goal, and I'd like to see him continue this form with another goal or another assist or another very, very good performance. But there's many question marks about the team. I mean, Bentancur today, there were question marks about, is he going to be the same player we had before his ACL. I know it's very harsh to judge a player like that because he had a very, very, career-altering injury. He could potentially never be the same player again, or potentially could be, 99% there. You never know in these things. I've luckily never suffered this sort of injury, and my dad did. My dad did 2 ACL injuries, and it's probably the hardest thing to go through. And to get to the other side and to see him play well is very, very good for us, because I remember a time where he was probably our most important player under Conte, and he influenced the game with goals and assists. And to see him play in the Bissouma role, I think he offers a bit more to the game and he contributes more. And Bissouma sometimes is a bit like a headless chicken. He runs somewhere and gets a daft yellow card. And I think we're much more complete playing with this lineup. I think this lineup specifically is one of our best lineups potentially. I like because Bentancur can influence the attack, can influence the defense, has the IQ to see out games, and he's quite clever. We need to see him get to 90 minutes. But then again, with the speed of the Premier League and 5 substitutions, I think Postecoglou, he's very, very good at substitutions. I think he reads the game really, really well. He knows when a player is getting a bit leggy and a bit tired. I think he's always been quite clever with substitutions. The way he took Brendan Johnson off and moved Kulusevski a bit further forward, because he knows Kulusevski has the engine to go up and down, has the strength to hold the ball up top. Solanke, about the 85th minute, looked really tired. He's still finding his legs. And there's a lot of things to be positive about and to push on and to have the excitement for the next game, which is all the season is really about. It's key improvements in moments. I really loved Jet Spence coming on and scoring a goal, because then you think, if we needed a goal, Jet Spence could have been brought on, and you think, oh, he can find you a goal. It's these key moments where you learn how to win a game and which players to rely on. That's another thing. We don't know yet which players you can really trust in the key moments, in difficult moments. I mean, that's why I was happy with Spence scoring. One, because he's a club signing, and club signings are not good according to Conte. And even though I support all the managers, I still have I'm a bit of annoyed with Conte. I still hold a bit of a grudge with him. I don't know why. He was a great manager to us, but Spence, I'm happy with. I'm delighted with him. And when Udogie gets tired or a bit leggy, I'll be happy any day of the week to have Spence come on. And I think he's another player that influences the game with raw pace. And we have good players in the squad at the moment. We just need to see their real potential come out, and we're starting to see it slowly.
Yeah, well said, Melvin. Ange Postecoglou and Brennan Johnson. Brennan's had a top week. He scored in the cup to get us through, scored the winner, and scored a fantastic goal again today to get us ahead. And he was a real threat all the way through. Ange Postecoglou has also been talking about goal scorer Dominic Solanke and said Dom's still working his way to match fitness. You saw at the end there, he was out of gas. We wanted to take him off a bit earlier, but we needed that final goal, that third goal to kill the game off. But he was good again, and I think he's been good in every game he has played for us. Remy, let's talk about the opening goal of the game. 22 seconds in, Mbeumo scores for Brentford. You've already mentioned that you weren't even in your chair watching the game when this goal went in. I think you were speaking for a lot of people there. I don't think a lot of people in the stadium were even in the seat at the time when this goal went in. How were you feeling at this point?
I was not in a good headspace. I was because I was thinking, I was afraid before this match, because like I said earlier, like Thomas Frank is a good tactician, and people now are saying that many people are putting it out there that Ange don't have a plan B and all this bullshit. So I was stressed when we came under one goal so early in the game, and that was it. Why it was so relieving to see that they just put their head down, our guys, and just went to work and played some brilliant football. And yeah, nice that Solanke gets his first goal. The two other goals they were both pretty marvelous, I would say. The way that Brendan Johnson did that little movement to get himself the space to have that amazing finish. So that's top notch. That.
Remy, when we look at this picture here in Buemo in acres of space, do you worry about us defensively, particularly when this incident is only 22 seconds into a game?
Not particularly, because I'm pretty confident in when those four play together. I think they are pretty awesome, actually. This is the game hasn't settled at this point. I don't know. Maybe we weren't switched on before, from the get-go, and maybe we should look at that. But these things happen. It's the way we respond that matters, I think.
Well, of course, it was a perfect response because we got the equaliser in the 8th minute. But in the 5th minute, Bentancur had a shot 20 yards out, was deflected wide. A couple of minutes later, James Maddison had a shot blocked after a good move in the final third. And then, of course, Dominic Solanke got his first goal in a Tottenham Hotspur shirt. Ricky, talk us through this goal, because Maddison's shot was blocked. It came to Dominic Solanke. He had an easy tap in. But, of course, great... a sigh of relief that Dominic Solanke has got his first goal in a Spurs shirt. A good move again from Spurs.
Oh, it was a great move again from Spurs. I mean, there was some really nice decisive play and some really nice passes that led up to that. I honestly felt that it was going to be Madders that scored that goal. I thought it was a perfect opportunity for him. I thought he was in a perfect place, and the fact that the keeper saves it and then it just falls to Solanke's feet. And this is why we've wanted a proper number 9 up there, to be in those spaces, to be there to score goals like that. Not just the long ranges, not just the worldies, but to score goals like that, because the amount of times that we pull it back into the box for somebody to run onto, and we've missed the chance, or we've tried to pass it again. Solanke wasn't having it. He couldn't wait to put it away. And for him, all of the fans in the stadium and everybody at home, I think you know what I mean? It's just great for your number 9, who you've spent big money on, to get that goal, and especially in front of the home crowd. For Solanke to feel that energy, to feel that roar, to score in front of all of those home fans, I think it's fantastic. And I think that this is definitely going to be the thing that pushes him on. You can still see that he's struggling with fitness. He's just come back. So the fitter he gets, the more game time he gets, the more he starts to understand the Postecoglou way and all the runs that the team are making and the interchanging and what's happening where. I think it could be, really successful, but most of all dangerous.
Melvin, when you look at this picture here, Dominic Solanke, 5 yards out, scoring the tap-in, this is exactly what we've been missing, isn't it? Someone in that position, in that goal-scoring position. So if any rebound comes that way, they can just tap in.
Yeah, I mean, Richarlison last season scored many, many similar goals. It's just the focal point of our attack. I mean, we shoot many shots from outside the box, and they usually ended up in that area. I mean, it's not poor from the goalkeeper, because there's not really much he can do from that position, but it's what he's there to do. He's there to occupy that position in space, and when the ball falls to him, he has to stick it in the back of the net. I mean, from this panel, probably most of us could have scored that goal, I say, but it's hopefully anyway. Chris used to be
I don't know about you, Melvin.
I don't know. Chris used to be a goalkeeper, so he could have missed it. But yeah, it's the simple goals that usually it's from a very, very good attack. I mean, it starts off from Kulusevski pressing, and then Madison pressing, and then getting the shot off. And we've played like this from the beginning of the season. Our pressing has been really good, and they usually cause teams trouble, and we pin them back. And these sort of goals are going to happen fairly regular, I think. It's just us fine-tuning it. And with Solanke there, he offers really good pressing, really good, strength. He's the focal point of the team. And clearly we missed him, and in a way we missed Richarlison, because last season we struggled when he wasn't there. And hopefully Solanke can offer us, 30 games a season and doesn't get any injuries. I know he had a knock during the first game, and that was really unlucky, but we need a striker to play, week in, week out, and build on his performances, and hopefully he gets another goal and gets near his 20, I think, or 19 goals he scored last season. Hopefully he can get in the 20s. Anywhere near the 20s would be a brilliant start for his career with us. And it's exactly what we need, the type of striker we need. And I just like the profile that Postecoglou went for him. He said he liked his trajectory in his career. He had some struggle in his career, and you need that kind of character in the changing room that he knows he needs to fight, because he's with a big team again, and he wants to make the best of it. He doesn't want, he was with Liverpool, it didn't happen. He was with Chelsea, it didn't happen. He went to Bournemouth and in a way, recovered his career and got a big move again, and could be playing European football again. So it's probably the best thing that happened for him coming to us, and hopefully he can score many goals, which is something he was very, very capable of doing with Bournemouth. And we just need to find him the ball, get it to his feet, and get him in scoring positions like that. I mean, if he can get 20 chances like that in the whole season, he's going to score 20 tap-ins, and they're going to call him, just a tap-in merchant. It's just, if you make it simple for the striker, he will score many goals. And I feel with our attack, sometimes we overcomplicate things, and when there's a simple pass to be made, it's not being made. And when there's a more, clever and complicated pass, it's being, I think they just need game time. Just simple as that. They just need 90 minutes to play together and gel and learn how to win, learn how to score. And there were a few cutbacks today that went across the center circle, and there was no one there to shoot. And I just feel that watch next game or the game after. I'm sure Postecoglou, they analyze these games and be like, why weren't you in that position? They'll point to someone. They'll point to Madison, to Kulusevski, and be like, next game you need to be in that position when Johnson is by the line. And we'll learn from these mistakes and grow from them. And they will end up being, really good chances for us in the next game. I'll make this prediction. We'll score a goal like that, where someone is at the center circle and they'll just, tap it in. Son Kerler, a Madison Kerler, a Kulusevski Kerler, something like that. A cutback from Johnson, clever movement from Solanke, something like that.
Remy, let's come to you. And on Melvin's point, in the 10th minute, Heung-min Son had a shot on the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper was equal to it. A minute later, Johnson shot wide after a good team move. After 16 minutes, Johnson gave the ball away after in a good position. And in the 21st minute, this happened twice. Spurs tried to cross. Madison in the second time, cutting the ball back, but it went to a Brentford player. Scott writes here, crosses into the air for Dominic Solanke to head in. Now, although we scored 3 goals today, I feel like there is so much more to come in that final third. And, sorry to keep banging on about it, but Ange Postecoglou has mentioned this so many times during his 14 months in charge. So much more to come from that final third. When it clicks, it's going to really click, is it?
Yeah, I believe so. I really believe so. Because we're so close and we're creating so many chances. Like in every game, like maybe besides the Arsenal, that was more than a battle than a game, but all the other games we have had so many like clear-cut chances. We have many like almost chances and close calls all the way. And I think when this gels, like Melvin says, Solanke is a new player for us. He needs to get to know his teammates, and the teammates needs to get to know him and his movements. And if we put good crosses in the box, I think he will put them away. And he is like a big physical presence. He makes space for other players, and as I see it, this can only get better. With that said, I was a little worried before today that shit, is this one of those seasons where we will just fall behind from the get-go and just struggle to like follow the teams that are way ahead of us. But now it's like, okay, we got 3 points today, and if we continue on this type of just daring, like to dare to be ourselves, dare to trust the system, dare to trust the Ange the Ange ball. Yeah, I'm confident, as confident as a Spurs fan can be.
Remy, let's stay with you, because in the 26th minute, Heung-min Son had a glorious chance, a one-on-one with the goalkeeper. He did all the hard work, took it round the goalkeeper. I'll show you a picture here. His body position seems quite awkward at this point to turn and shoot, but should he have done a lot better here? Should he have scored?
I was thinking about that situation after it happened, and I thought that, okay, 2 years ago he would have put that away for sure. And I also thought that maybe like 3, 4, 5 more games down the road, he will score in a similar position. He has lost a little bit of pace, and maybe he did the wrong thing in that situation. Maybe he should have tried to finish and not go around the keeper. It's hard to say, these guys are doing this on instinct. So he has a world of experience. So who am I to say anything? He probably thought that was the best way to score a goal in that situation.
Ricky, can I ask you also about that Heung-min Son chance? Because how many times have we recorded this podcast, you and I, talking about Son's goals, his finishing being absolutely superb? What did you make of Son's performance today, and in particular that chance in the 26th minute?
It was a tough chance, bro. For me, I was putting my money on 100% him scoring it and putting us ahead. It was tough. There was a couple. He had I'm sure he had 1 or 2 other one-on-ones and other opportunities. What was good about Son today was his movement, his pressing, his speed in getting the right back to kind of track back. I think he created confusion. I think his effort was there. His want was there. But yeah, there's a little bit missing right now. And I think that will come with time. And do you know what? There's been so many times since Sonny's been with us, there's been so many times that he's been doubted. And there's been so many times that there's been comments like, oh, he doesn't score enough, or he doesn't assist enough, or, he's losing speed. Or I remember in the first couple of seasons where he was too quick, so he would run past the ball. Like, he'd lose the ball in a kerfuffle in between his feet because he was a little bit too quick. But the one thing that Son has always done is turn it around and show up. And, he's done it for so long that I have faith that he will do it again. So when I see, times where he hasn't had the greatest game or the greatest amount of touches, I'm disappointed. Of course I am, because, we expect so much from Son. And we've seen it. We've seen it so many times that we're like, oh, no, come on. So there's a double disappointment, almost like, oh, we know that if you would have got in, you would have scored, but then you've lost it. And then, Yeah, and so we're trying to find reasons, and we're trying to find kind of the circumstances why those things ain't happening again. I just think, Sonny is another guy that he flies halfway around the world to be a captain for his country as well as a captain for this club. A lot is asked of him. There are bound to be times when things don't happen. Should he have scored? 100% he should have scored. 100% he should have scored. And sometimes, you know, there was a comment there that just spoke about exhaustion and international tournaments and duty. And sometimes we don't realize how bad. Like you will realize, Chris, because you travel left, right, and center. But how much?
Do you know? Yeah, to get on a plane to South Korea and come back, it takes you days and weeks to recover from that. And yet Son comes back, and then like a couple of days later, he's playing 90 minutes at the Premier League level. I completely get it.
Multiple times,
yeah,
bro.
Yeah.
Multiple times during the year he does this. So if you're telling me it takes days and weeks to actually get back into your rhythm, and then by the time you've done that, it's another international break and you're flying back and you're like, oh, goodness. He does it all the time. That's going to have an effect on a human being. I don't care how much you get paid. I don't care how much experience you got. I don't care. I don't care how high a status you are in life. You know, you're human. So there's going to be things that take it out of you. There's going to be circumstances around you that take it out of you. But I never doubt Son. I'm disappointed when he doesn't score, when he has opportunities, and when he has a bit of a blip. Of course I am. But I trust in him. I trust in him because he showed me year in, year out that I can trust him. And so I'll continue to back him. I'll continue to believe in him. And I'll continue to kind of have faith that come the next game or come the next important moment that he'll put it away.
Melvin, let's come to you. In the 28th minute, Spurs took the lead 2-1, assisted by Son. Brennan Johnson took on his man, hit it in the far corner. A fantastic finish. Talk us through the goal. Talk us through the week that Brennan Johnson has had.
Yeah, it was funny during that moment because I tweeted the same emoji going like this on Twitter when I saw that going on, because you don't know what kind of messages he received under the after the North London derby. I mean, it's not nice, and Postecoglou spoke about it, and I like how he phrased it. He said you wouldn't say this to anyone's face because you would just get punched in the face if you did. And social media is a bit. It's not nice as a footballer, I'm sure, because yeah, they get paid lots of money and that sort of thing, and the fee is not his fault, and he's still a young player for us, and to do that to the crowd, I think is fair on his part, but I potentially probably would not have done it to the home crowd as well. But I'm not saying that he did a bad thing, but to get 2 goals and to get, in a way, 2 winners for us is massive, and I hope he continues this fine form. And I just wish he activates his Instagram again, and people stop being idiots and sending him these kind of messages. Because if you receive one hateful comment or you receive hundreds, it's pretty much the same. You're still receiving hate from your fan base. You know, we should be the ones champion. You know, this guy's putting on our shirt, our kit. He's representing our club. And to do that, you know, yeah, he didn't perform against Arsenal, but Arsenal have one of the best defense in the league. I mean, most players in their prime would struggle against Arsenal at the moment. So just because he didn't play well in one game, he doesn't deserve to get abused like that. And it's still early in the season. Something like this to happen in September as well. I mean, hopefully he reacts well like he did these 2 games, and maybe in a way there's a positive outcome from it too, because he scored 2 games. I'm not saying someone should go abuse him if he doesn't score, nothing like that. But you have to see the positive side of things as well. He got a reaction out of him as well. But credit to him to score these 2 goals, and even if he doesn't score, I mean, he's still a very, very important player to us. Has a very bright future. He's still 23. He could play 10 years with Spurs and still be, you know, in a way the same age that Son is right now. There's 10 seasons between Heung-min Son at this moment in time and Brendan Johnson. So there's a lot of football to be played by him. And Spurs invested 45 million in a player who we think has a massive future in the Premier League. I mean, give this boy let's say, I don't know, 3-4 seasons to mature, develop, and be a regular in the Premier League. He's had, I think, a season and a half in the Premier League, something like that. He's still a lot of development to come from Johnson. I mean, if you think of Gareth Bale when he came to us, I'm not doing that comparison, but think of the seasons Gareth Bale was on the bench and how long it took for him to really click. I mean, yeah, he scored on his debut and he had bright moments, and Harry Redknapp used to bring him in when we were 4 or 5 goals ahead just to break his losing streak, and then all of a sudden it clicked. But Bale had the foundations of a great player. He could run, he was strong, and he could finish, and there's similarities between them. I mean, when Johnson gets the ball, part of me gets really excited because I think, what's he going to do with it? What's he going to do? And he gives me that. Even Lennon had that. When Lennon gets the ball, and Lennon used to be one of the first player that made me fall in love with football, because when he got the ball, White Hart Lane used to stand up. All of a sudden, people were on their feet because something was going to happen. And Johnson is capable of doing that. And you don't know in the beginning of the game which Johnson is going to come out. Is it going to be the Brendan Johnson that doesn't do anything for 60 minutes and then gets subbed off? Or is it going to be the Brendan Johnson that, scores a goal or gets an assist or does a really good, one of his great passes? He whips the ball into the second post. And it's not his fault if someone's not there, because we've seen it. It's in the training. That's what they're being trained and told to do. So Johnson, with the abuse and all of this, he's going to grow. It's going to make him thick. He's going to give him thicker skin and be stronger as a player and as a human being. And it's not a positive thing. And if I could somehow control the Spurs fan base and control social media, I would. But we live in a world where you can't control these things. And probably the best thing for him to do is just, like he did. He cannot block, 100,000 people or 1,000 people like I can do, like Chris can do, because if someone he gets, and you don't even know if all of it is coming from Spurs fans. It could have been from Arsenal fans telling him, you were horrible today, you didn't play well, you did, F all. We don't know. From our position, we don't know. We just know that he removed his Instagram for personal reasons. And I mean, we could take a guess of what happened, but to see him score today and get the goal again in the League Cup, he saved us, because I know Chris would have been fuming if we lost that game. Most of us would have been, but Chris probably Chris is still angry about the Fulham game. So
I'm still angry about our win on Wednesday with the game changes, but we won't even go there. I'm glad that we got through to the next round, but it is a big week coming up for us because, of course, the Carabao Cup draw takes place on Wednesday. We're back in Europe, which is great. We'll talk about that later on in the show on Thursday, and then, of course, away at Old Trafford at Manchester United on Sunday. So a very, very big week, a lot to happen. Remy, let's come to you. In the 32nd minute, Kulusevski to Maddison to Solanke. Solanke couldn't quite get there to get the tap in to add to Tottenham's tally. 4 minutes later, Kulusevski, he had a chance to square it to Solanke, but he chose another option, which was really frustrating. What did you make of Kulusevski's performance today?
I think he is starting to show signs of just how important it is to have a player like that who just the engine on that guy is just crazy. He runs and runs and runs, and if he looks like almost he's going to throw up, and then he runs all the way down the pitch and up again. It's crazy. Every team needs one player like that, and we have Kulusevski. The situation that you just mentioned, Chris, I was frustrated as well but I think that has something to do that he didn't pass the ball in that situation. I think that has something to do that we haven't had a clear number 9 since Harry left, and our players aren't used to have a number 9 to play the ball to. And it's something that's going to develop over the next, 7-8 games, and they will start to remember that hey, we have a striker, we have a number 9 in their team. Maybe he can get the ball since he's straight in the front of it. And it also this decisions making that if you on this level, if you are not like having a clear-cut chance, you should look, is there a player on my team that is better placed than me? Then pass the ball. Like every time, all the good like big teams do that, you know. All of a sudden they're playing, and then just one person, player standing there getting the ball, just have an easy finish, you know. And we need to be making better decisions in that kind of situations around the box, because we have a lot of blocked shots, like incredible amount of blocked shots in almost every game. And that means that there is some other players have space, and they need to get the ball.
Remy, let's stay with you, because in the 41st minute, Brentford had a couple of chances. Vicario seemed to hold on to the ball for too long. I'm going to show you a couple of pictures here. Vicario doesn't seem to release the ball for some time, and then is forced into a couple of saves. This reminded me of Hugo Lloris, you know, over the years of keeping the ball for too long, or us playing it around the back for too long. Does this frustrate you?
Yeah, I remember thinking during the game in this situation, I was thinking there is a difference between being brave and being an idiot. And this is just pure idiocy. If you are closed down by two players, you need to get the ball away. Sometimes safety first is the way to go, because it would have looked very nice if he could make a beautiful pass out of that, just between those players, or just somehow get the ball to one of our own. But this, he cannot do that. And I'm sure that even that Ange wants us to play out from the back in those situations, get the ball away from dangerous situations, for sure.
Ricky, of course, it was half-time, 2-1 Spurs. How were you feeling at that point?
I was happy. I was happy that we got back into the game. I was happy that we was on the front foot. But I was I was hoping for more. We had a couple of chances, in the 4 or 5 minutes of extra time, right at the end of the half. I think Johnson had one. Well, it was Maddison and then Johnson, wasn't it? We had a couple of chances there. So I feel that we should have gone in a couple of more goals up. And that increased the tension going into the second half, you know. But you know what, Chris? I wanted to also kind of just jump on what you were talking to Melvin about there, about like the kind of online stuff. And I think us as people that are online, whether it's Instagram or X or YouTube, I think we have to kind of like recognize some stuff. And, you know, at the moment in time, and I've always said, and Chris, I've always said, and you know this, that if you're a Tottenham fan and you live and breathe this club and you read and watch everything that you can consume to do with Tottenham and you feel negatively about the side, I'm not going to tell you that you're wrong, because it's your club. It's your club too. Do you know what I mean? I just have a different way of seeing things, and I just have a different way of looking at things. But if we look at this kind of online thing, you know, if you're positive, you're called happy clapper. And if you're nasty and negative, you're called a realist. And I think that there is balance in there. There is balance in there. And I think that we have to get away from the extreme and come closer to the balance, come closer to the middle of these kind of opinions. You know, yes, I am positive. I'm a positive guy. But Chris, you've known, and I've been on this show for years. You know, if I have to critique somebody, even if I've backed them, if I have to critique them and I have to say what I see, I'm going to say it. I'm not just going to blindly be positive. Am I going to look at a negative game and try and pull out the positives? Yeah, to give balance and to a podcast and to a discussion. Absolutely, right? But I'm not blinded by it. When you just put out extreme hatred to anyone in any field, it does nothing but just encourage more of those people that have been waiting for hatred, or to confirm a bias that they may have had pre-season, you know, and people just jump on it and they pile on and they pile on. We have to be really, really careful, because we've got a young side. We've got a load of young boys in this side that are going to fail, that are going to trip up, that are going to make mistakes. And we're going to have to encourage them. We're going to have to back them. Yes, we can criticize them. Yes, we can say that they didn't have a good game. Yes, we can say that they was poor for that 90 minutes. Yes, we can say that they deserve to come off at halftime. We can say these things, but throwing out just nastiness and hate and pinning it and making it personal towards that player, it just doesn't help. It doesn't encourage, and it's not going to make that player want to go out there next week and perform. We saw it with Davinson Sanchez, right? Somebody who always came in and tried to give his best. Yes, sometimes he didn't have the ability. Yes, sometimes he wasn't the greatest in the back line. But how many times did we need him there? How many times were there no one else, to call upon, and then he came on? And I remember that time when he came off of the bench and there was a massive boo. And it was not so much for him. I know it was because we was in a losing position. It should have been an attacker, but we brought on a defender. But the fact that the crowd done that to him and made him feel that way, wasn't the greatest. And you saw that he dropped off a cliff after that. Yes, he was professional, but he dropped off a cliff after that. And I don't want our own fan base to kill these young starlets, to kill this potential, to kill their confidence, to kill their belief, to kill their love of playing football at that beautiful ground that you're in right now, Chris. We have to be really careful as that. And the more of us positive ones that can spread that and share it, the more that these messages will get to Johnson, the more that these messages can help him go, you know what, it's not everybody that hates me. Negativity always shouts louder than positivity. It always will. It shouts louder. It hangs around longer. It lingers for ages, and it lingers until it becomes a moment in a game makes it become true, quote unquote true. It does nothing for the side. It's not going to propel us. It's not going to make us winners. It's not going to make us lift that trophy. And I'm not just saying be a happy clapper. I'm not saying be delusional, but back your boys. If they're wearing the shirt and they're going out there to win this game, to go to war, to fight, to kind of run, do you know what I mean? To be accountable, to be responsible for the side and for the 3 points, we have to cheer them on. We have to roar them on because we're a different side when everybody's behind this team. We are a totally different side, bro.
Ricky, well said. And I know you said very similar a couple of weeks ago, but well said today. And Brennan Johnson has certainly, shushed a couple of people, after his goal at Coventry midweek, his goal today. And I would also say to that is that, I feel like we all had a lot of balance on this channel. And that's probably why we are the most watched Tottenham Hotspur fan channel on YouTube, which I'm very, very proud about, because I feel like we have a number of guests on, giving a number of different opinions, and there is nothing that we don't talk about on this show, whether it's positive or negative, but we add a lot of balance on here. So I'm very grateful to, the guests I have on, particularly you, Ricky, who's on, most weeks. Melvin, let's come to you. In the 51st minute, James Maddison played in Kulusevski, had a shot at the goalkeeper, which was saved. A couple of minutes later, Solanke shot, which was blocked. In the 57th minute, Vicario seemed to handball outside the box, which we've got a couple of pictures here showing. Handballing outside the box. What did you make of this incident, Melvin? Because the referee just seemed to flag it, just wave it away.
I don't know. When you look at it obviously, I saw the game on TV. I don't know what at the stadium what it looked like, but it looked like he touched the ball once, and which was clearly inside. He touched the ball again, and it was like you can say it was on the line, and then it looked like he had a third touch. But from the video in analysis, you don't know for sure if he had a third touch. But I mean, how daft and how silly to do something like that, because if he was sent off, it could have been easily sent off for something like that. And you just think the positive day, the positive result could have been spoiled or potentially ruined. He could have dropped, too far. It could have been a draw. You don't know what could have happened. And I don't know. It's something silly. But at the end of the day, we got the 3 points, and Vicario saved us with a couple of saves. But something like this, I don't know. It's in him. It's either needs to come out from experience. He's an experienced goalkeeper, so I don't know if he's going to keep doing stuff like this, for his entire career, or if it's something that he will eventually phase out. I don't know, but he's a good goalkeeper. Let's be honest. But stuff like this, he cannot do at a club this size. When you're playing in the Premier League, mistakes like that usually get punished. And today we were lucky that we weren't.
Remy, let's come to you. In the 60th minute, Brennan Johnson had a shot on goal at the near post. Goalkeeper saved it. 3 minutes later, Heung-min Son had a one-on-one. He decided then to pass to Brennan Johnson. Of course, we didn't score from that opportunity, which was disappointing. In the 68th minute, Vicario made a fantastic save from across from the right-hand side from Brentford, headed towards goal, and a fantastic diving save from the Italian goalkeeper. What do you make of it?
It was a wonderful save. It's almost as nice to watch saves like that as watching good goals, because he was on the other side of the goal, and he had a long way to throw himself to get that ball out. And I think that this is the reason that we bought him, because he can pull that thing out of his arsenal. It's just amazing. It's just amazing. It's an important save at that time in the match as well, So I love it, really.
Remy, you got to use the word locker because we're not allowed swear words on this channel. All right, I'm just letting you know.
I'm sorry.
Right? I don't want him to get demonetized or the sponsors leave us. I'm just saying you're not allowed any swear words on here. All right.
Ricky, don't start that rumor. Don't start that rumor. I've never ever said to any guest what they can and can't say.
No, I know.
If you want to swear, you go ahead. Remy, let's stay with you because 20 minutes from time in the 70th minute, Brennan Johnson came off. Pape Matar came on. And as I said earlier on the podcast, a great moment again for Brennan Johnson because the fans, particularly the fans in the South Stand, were singing, "There's only one Brennan Johnson." I know the other guys, Ricky and Melvin, have had their say on Brennan Johnson, but what did you make of his performance and what have you made of his week?
I'm so happy for him, because I see that he wears his heart on his sleeve, and he really wants to do his best for the team. And sometimes it looks like he's almost like he's going to break down and crying when something good doesn't come out of a situation that he's involved in, and I think it's beautiful. And like you said, and I heard it on the TV as well, the singing from the South Stand, I hope he heard it, I hope it took it to heart, and I hope it gave him some confidence and that he felt the love from the crowd. And I'm really happy for him. And I have belief in Brennan Johnson. Like Melvin said earlier, he's 23 years old. Still have a lot of football in him to show us what he's all about. He got a pace. He has some things that he needs to work on. Crossing being one of them. But there is raw potential that can be melded into something really, really good for the future. And I'm glad he's on my team. And I have to say also that being in Norway, the press in Norway, they just focus on United, City, Liverpool, and Arsenal. So if I don't want to go to some pages from the UK, I miss when things like this happen. So I didn't know anything about this thing with Brennan Johnson, that he has been abused online and stuff like that. And it's just sad, people, I don't know, people are picking up bad energy somewhere and they need to get it out, and they feel it's appropriate to put it out on some poor football player doing his best. It's just fucked up.
Ricky, let's come to you. Let's talk about Tottenham's third goal. Of course, James Maddison scored in the 85th minute. Another great assist from Heung-min Son. I don't think Heung-min Son has been given enough credit today for the two assists that he's provided. in our 3-1 win. But James Maddison, what a finish that was.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was a cherry on top of the cake. It's what needed to happen for Maddis today. Because like I say, I think he's had his best game, you know, and there was a comment down there that in all of 2024, because, you know, when he came back after the injury last year, we didn't see the Maddis that we saw at the beginning of the year, and we've been waiting for that. So to see him darting around and being a nuisance and to find those flicks and those tricks and to create space and chaos for others to run into, but to have a performance like that and then to score the third one, that just relieved all the pressure. And what a beauty it was. I mean, I'm sure it started way back when I think it was Basuma that ended up having a slide tackle, and then it was quick 2 passes into Son, who could have shot himself but found Maddison in space, and he had the composure and the class to just dink it over the keeper. I mean, what a goal, and what a way to say I'm back. And I just hope for Maddis that this is exactly what he's needed, because he's had a few knocks. You know, the injury knocked him at a really positive place where everybody was talking about him being like player of the season in the Premier League, and being, you know, a shoe-in for the England squad, and being part of that really important, you know, last period of games that we were into. And it just didn't happen for him. And I think that was a couple of knocks, and I think it was tough for him to take. And when he was coming back and not being at that same pace, you know, beginning of this season, I think it frustrated him. But the boss believes in him and it continues to start him, and Matt has believed in himself. And, you know, I think after the pressure that we've got in the press, that the boss has got, you know, after the North London derby, after the games that we didn't win in those first 3, and this kind of pressure in the first 5 games that started to pile on, I think it's galvanized the side. I think it's brought a lot of the side together and almost implemented that siege mentality. And you could see that from Maddis today. You could see it in the reaction to Johnson as well. You know, every time he had a good touch or scored that goal, the whole team was surrounding him. The whole team was with him. And it was the same as Maddis. You know, for Maddis to then go and celebrate, take off his top and get that cheer from the crowd, I think it's another, you know, element that is going to spur him forward. That is going to, see that, Remy? Spur him forward. We don't need to say swear words, bruv. I'm just saying. But yeah, that's gonna spur him forward and motivate him and encourage him to have bigger and better performances, to go out there and risk that ankle turning and risk, you know, play more risk and reward passes and shots. You know, he's been about it. He's been wanting to prove a point. I think today is the beginning of that.
Finally, let's talk about the Carabao Cup draw, and of course Spurs are in action in Europe. It is great to be back in Europe, by the way. Melvin, let's start with you. Who would you like to see Spurs draw in the Carabao Cup on Wednesday evening? And what do you expect Ange Postecoglou to do ahead of the Carabao game on Thursday evening here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium?
I'd love a home draw for the cup. I think if we play at home, it'll be a massive advantage, you know, to have the stadium full, and because you usually sell it out anyway. I don't know which teams are back. I'd love to avoid, you know, the top 6, any Premier League side. I remember under Jose, we played literally like no one and got to the final. And I think the only big team we played was Chelsea, I believe, and we knocked them out. And so if you have a bit of luck in the draw, you know, get into the next round, all of a sudden you can find yourself in the semi-final. And so I'd love to have, you know, a home tie. Looking forward to having Europa League football again. I think under Pochettino, we cemented some of our best players in the Europa League. They had a season to play and bed and gel together, and we did that when we had, you know, Andros Townsend and Harry Kane, Nabil Bentaleb, that sort of team, that sort of football, and to have that now under Postecoglou and to play Bergvall and all the young guys, and I think he will play similar teams we played in the League Cup. I think he will mix and match. You know, Davis will come back in. He played really well, very experienced now player. And Dragozin, I love when Dragozin plays. I just think he's such a quality defender. And I love when he does like a 50-50 or he jumps jumps for the ball and muscles the player out of the way. And the only thing that really scares me is Foster. It's just when I know Vicario was capable of doing these sort of things, but when I see Foster, in my head, I think we're going to lose 1-0. And it's just going to be one of those games. But I'm excited to have European football again. Luckily, the Europa League, there's a lot of games. There's 8 games to be played. And I just personally think, my opinion, I think by January, February, March, April, the team will have played many, many games and would be more in tune with Postecoglou's system and we'll have lots more game time. And I think by the business end of the season, if we're still in the Europa League, we might do something in it. I'm not confident we will, but to have a cup run, I think will bring the fan base together. I think the best times during this football club, supporting this football club, is when we were in finals or semi-finals and we get excited by cup runs. I think one of the best moments in my life was the Champions League cup run. So it makes your season a lot better, even if we don't win the competition. But to get to a semi-final or a final or have a very, very positive cup run, it makes your season a lot better. Even so, Europa League for me is very exciting competition. So I'd love to go far in that. And
Let's take one game at a time, Melvin. Let's not be talking about finals yet.
Yeah.
Remy, who would you like to see us draw in the 4th round of the Carabao Cup, and what changes do you think Postecoglou will make ahead of Thursday's game in the Europa League?
I agree with what Melvin just said, that I would love a home tie, and not with any of the top 6 teams. Not like a walkover team or something like that, but a home tie and manageable opponent. We have to have some luck with the draw if we are going to go far. When it comes to the game on Thursday, I think that he should, depending on how the players are feeling, and if there are some minor injuries or something like this, I would say that he should, instead of like he did on the game on Wednesday, he should maybe change half the team. I think he should give Archie Gray and Bergwall starts. I think he should give Jed Spence start on the right back. I think it's okay for Davies to come in and play. He always gives his best. But like I've said in this show and on the one I was on earlier, I want us to take every game in every competition most seriously. And I think we can do that because we have a lot of young players and they have a lot of stamina, and they can run and run and run the way Ange wants his players to run. Yeah.
And same question to you, Ricky.
No, I agree with the gents. I totally agree with the gents. I'd love a home tie. I want Jed Spence to get more game time. I think I love his attitude. I love the kind of the comeback trail that Jed is showing. I love that even though that he was dropped out of the Europa League squad, that he's still there. He's still determined, and he was the game changer during the cup game during the week. So. Yeah, for him to get some more game time would be great in these cup games. But yeah, on the draw, I'm just like, bring it on. Bring it on. What is it, the last 16 now? So for me, as long as it's a home tie, like Melvin said there, bring it on. Bring it on. Let's go. I think that by the time the game comes around as well, fingers crossed, we do have a bit of momentum. We do have a bit of kind of more belief in ourselves. And we go into it with like full of confidence, whoever it's against. So yeah, for me, I'm just looking forward to it, bro.
Melvin, thank you so much for joining us this evening, talking about Tottenham's 3-1 win against Brentford here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Where can people find you on social media and what you're up to at the moment?
Yeah, not much. You can find me Melvin Malta on Twitter or X. I usually follow back. yeah, I can't wait to come back for the game to see Spurs. I'm trying to get there, but I'm trying to get there sometime this season. But yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting you and the boys for a drink somewhere. So yeah, I can't wait to be back.
Remy, thank you so much for joining us. Where can people find you?
Thank you for having me on again, Chris. People can't find me. Like I said the last time, I'm just a die-hard Spurs fan, following in thick and thin, loving talking about Spurs. It's absolute an honor to be on with you guys.
Well, thank you so much. Great to have you here. And Ricky, of course, you'll be here with me at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Thursday. Looking forward to that. Where can people find you?
Oh, you guys know where you can find me. You can find me right here with Mr. Chris Cowlin after the Carabao game. You can find me on Twitter. I can see I'm going. All right, I'm doing it. You can find me on Twitter at Ricky J Norwood and on Instagram at official Ricky Norwood. That's without the J on the old Instagram. But as always, Chris, always an honor and a pleasure. I'm surprised you haven't got security escorting you out right now. But I can't wait until the next one. Can't wait until the next one. Come on.
Thank you so much, Ricky, Melvin, Remy. Thank you so much for your time. It's great to talk about a win. Great to see so many smiles on your faces. And hopefully we'll be smiling again on Thursday and on Sunday. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for listening. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on.
Come on.